Welcome.
Ready for some SX-64? Hello Chip Dippers and welcome to another Quick Bites episode. Now last time I showed you my Commodore SX-64 restoration using 3D printing, a wish dosher and Ladyfractic taking a chip dip. It's one of my fastest growing videos and even generated a meme. Some flawless photoshopping there. I wonder what I'd look like in a bikini. Actually, Photoshoppers, forget I said that. But I have been keeping up with Commodore, at least until 1994, when Commodore stopped keeping up with us. And a lot of you asked if I really dropped the machine at the end. Of course I did. Would I trick you in a video? That trip even blew my shoes and socks off. And this was what it looked like after my fall. Just kidding. This is actually the first of two quick things I'm bringing you in this Quick Bites. Because you've seen my refurb, and now you're about to witness the incredible repair done for C64portal.pl by friend of the channel Pete, aka retrohacks.net. This very heavy SX-64 was obviously dropped on its front, shattering the panel under its own weight. I mean, we've all been eating a bit more under quarantine, haven't we? But impossible to repair, right? Come on, haven't we taught you anything? Nothing is unrefurbishable. So with this kind of repair, first thing you'd need to do is remove the label. That's easily done. Just fire up the hot air gun to about 100 degrees Celsius and slide a scraper underneath it to slowly ease it off. But for the tricky stuff, you can use a technique similar to Pete's incredible Atari 800XL repair. Take this brass mesh and just melt it into the plastic on the inside using the soldering iron. And then for the actual broken wall, you can shape it into place like this. And then you'll want to actually recreate the angle and correct line by cutting down the brass. And then you just place that next to the flat section that you soldered on earlier, and it's back to the soldering iron to solder those two pieces of brass together. So that's the top and the side of the brass taken care of. But what about the bottom, I hear you ask? Well, you can run a brass rod all around the edge there to give strength on the bottom as well. But enough boring metal work. Now for the fun stuff. Grab some fiberglass putty and start filling in all around the mesh. You can add some flat panels to help you create that flat edge on both sides. And once that's dried, just keep layering it up. Baby steps, and don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. You can use the flat panels to keep those clip areas nice and straight as well. And once you're nice and square, not you personally, it's time for some sanding with the help of a sander. Do the same on the top with some imperfections filled in. And it's time for a coat of primer. And then a specially colour-matched paint that you're going to be able to get soon at retrohacks.net, along with matching paint for other retro machines. And then it's time for a quick reminder of how things looked SX-60 before the big reveal. Just incredible. You might have even noticed that those scuffed up clips from the beginning were all glossy, and that was thanks to this silicone oil. There you go. 2 SX-64s restored to brand new in just 2 weeks. It's like 1984 all over again. You may also have noticed this PCB ruler during the repair, and this of course came from PCBWay! They're celebrating their 6th anniversary soon. Happy anniversary PCBWay, because as we all know, PCB stands for Portable Commodore Brick. Doesn't it?
Did you order an OCD magazine?
OCD?
Yeah, I mean you order a lot of weird magazines, but OCD?
I have no idea what that is.
Is there a special way I should open it?
Well, I'm not OCD, so no. Ooh!
SX-64 from 1985.
Why does it say OCD magazine?
Wait. Is that an L?
It says old magazine.
Oh!
Old magazine. Ooh. Now, we've all heard of the NES Mini and the C64 Mini, but what about the SX-64 Mini? Well, speaking of OCD, this is the meticulous work of the fantastically named Christian Steenken and Christian Thalhammer. The project starts life as this, a generic electronics carry case. And after carrying it to the workbench and opening it up, it's time to install a Raspberry Pi compatible 3.5-inch LCD display and a speaker for those gorgeous chiptunes. This is the screen, and to make things super easy, I've listed all the parts for this build in the video description below, so maybe we can create a little army of mini SX-64s. Oh, how cute. And the next retro recipe ingredient is this delicious Raspberry Pi for the screen to connect to with that HDMI flat cable. As for the speaker, it comes with a volume control, so we can patch that in via the Pi's 3.5mm headphone jack, and Bob's your auntie's brother, you've got a knob. You've got a volume knob. Next up is easy SD card access, achieved via this SD card extension cable, with the business end installed at the back. So with everything looking like it will fit, it's time to spray the case a sexy shade of grey, and start to mount things properly in those dremeled out holes. But wait a minute, how come it looks like a real SX-64 now? Or maybe this will give the game away. Yeah, it's just a photo decal affixed on the front. And whilst you can download this from the description below, I think we can improve on it. So stay tuned for that. But how can you program your basic creations or play games on this thing? I mean, it does have a touchscreen display, but we can do better. That's where this mini Raspberry Pi wireless keyboard comes in. And so with everything connected up inside, and the Commodore 64, Commodore 64 distribution installed on the Pi, the big question is, does it work? Well, it works, as we could see with the barbarians going head to head. Now, let's improve things further with a bit of SX-64 blue paint on that front trim and those end caps. The improvements continue with a 3D printer and these models, again all in the description, to add a bit of SX-64 grill flair. And a 3D printed front keyboard panel that the keyboard can be fixed into, combined with another decal on the outside. This thing looks great. And then it's time to do away with that decal and go full 3D printed full frontage or something. Now SD card is fine, but what about real working floppy disks? Kind of. How? Well, NFC of course. By installing this NFC reader inside on one side of the drive bay area only, and then dropping two NFC tags into the disk while the 3D printer is adding layers to create it, you effectively end up with a double-sided disk. The reader will only see the tag when it's on the left, so flipping the disk presents the other tag to the reader, and those tags are programmed to launch a specific D64 file from the SD card. This means you can label your virtual diskettes on both sides, insert them whichever way round you want, and the SX-64 will load the corresponding game. Magic. But here's what's actually going on behind the magic. When the NFC receiver receives the file path from each tag, the custom-written Python script translates that into an attached disk telnet command that the Vice C64 emulator can receive via its virtual server feature. So the tag tells Python to telnet into Vice and attach the disk. Simple. Kind of. You can even add this USB to 1541 adapter for real Commodore floppy support. Which means real printer support too. Hello! So there it is. If you were jealous of people who own a real SX-64, now you can build your own SX-64 Mini with working floppy disks for less than the price of a real one on Fleabay. Hey, maybe 30 years from now, when Puppyfractic's all grown up, she'll make a video about yours. Talk about retro. Well, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this Quick Bites. Huge thanks to Pete and the 3 Christians. Thanks for watching. Subscribe below and cheerio.
Are you